Test. Test. Okay, welcome everyone to the stream. The second stream. I'm sorry for the delay. I had problems with Restream. I have to see, maybe I have to stream it only on one platform like YouTube and not over Restream from now on. I test it out today. If everything works smoothly, I will keep streaming over both platforms, but yeah, right now I have some issues. But let's go on, or better, let's finally start the stream. Today I want to do quite a lot actually. First we look at Blender. Blender is a 3D modeling program. It is free. I will create a very simple skeletal mesh. Skeletal mesh means it has a skeletal. You can rig the mesh on and then you can do animations. Then later on we will jump into Unreal Engine. You see here now. I will import the skeletal mesh we created in Blender in here. I will create a player character and then I will set up the save file. When we when the stream not ends up too long, let's say it like this. Otherwise I will do the same thing for next time. I also want to talk a little bit about the softwares I use, and maybe some and just go a little bit more into detail what you see and so on, just because it's the first time. I will also talk a little bit about concurrent products, let's say it like this, and I will talk a little bit about the surface. Like I said, going more into detail in this stream. In later streams I may jump over the details just to get forward with the project and so on. So first, in Blender, the 3D modeling software, this is a free software. Other concurrence products are very prominent, are Maya or 3D Max, but as far as I know, both of them you need to pay for licenses, so Blender is definitely the best thing if you want to go free, if you don't want to pay for anything. It's not the perfect software, there are some issues, but we can go around these issues. It's absolutely a lot of the problems I have with Blender is as soon as you use Blender a lot and you get better used to it, it's a lot better, because most of the stuff is because of the controls and anything like that. So what you see here is more or less what you see when you start a new file in Blender. What you also have most of the time is how do you say it? A cube, of course. You have a cube in the center of the map. I deleted it because I don't need it. I also added the skeleton because I already created the skeleton and I don't want to lose too much time by doing a new one. This is a very simple file version of a skeleton here. You probably need a lot more for a more realistic game project, say it like this. You see here this list here, the window down here you can ignore for now, this one here. But you see here in the list, you can change in which mode you want to go. So now I probably add cube. Okay. When we have a cube, then we can be in object mode. You can change a little bit the forms and so on of the cube, but I would really tell you that you don't change in object mode. With Alt T you can put it into the center. If it's not rotated correctly, you can Alt R, press Alt R, and it will rotate into correct form. Let me see, yeah. Then in edit mode, that's where we work the most. Here we start the mesh, here we can change the form and things like that. Sculpt mode I will show you later. That's for making more bringing in more details into your mesh, like if you have a human character, then maybe muscles or so on. Just things you can, it's hard to do in here with the polygons or the vertex or how you want to call it, to move them around. Then we have vertex painting. I'm not using vertex painting a lot. I more use texture painting for textures. We will not come to that today. And weight painting, we will come to that. That's for rigging, and I will explain that later on. That's the most important thing here. Then here you can change how you want to look at things. The wireframe mode and the solid mode are best thing to do when you work on the mesh itself. With textures, you better go to material or texture itself. Material is the best thing there. That's here I don't need very often. Here you can, what do you want to select? If you just want to select point, you use this one. Here you can select between the lines, and here you can select the surfaces. It depends on how you want to work right now, then you can use that. Sometimes we also use here we can, if we have two objects, then we can say, yeah, I want to create a point on the surface of this of the other objects, so we can use that. That's in edit mode. Here in object mode, you also have layers, so that's why I can have my skeletal in another layer, and you don't see it when I opened up this. You can bring it in. If you press shift, then you can select different layers. That's really useful, the layers, so you don't have everything over each other. That's sometimes annoying to work like this. And then on the left side we have the tools. I will come to that a little bit later. Now here we have more options. I will also come to some of them later on. For now, the third one here, if you press that, sorry, we want not unit presets but centimeters, and that's for later on when we export it to Unreal Engine 4. I will repeat that again when we start to export it, but it's already useful if you start in centimeters. So if you want to use Unreal Engine, then press here on the third one on the scene, and on the units use centimeters. Otherwise you will have trouble with the size of the imported mesh. Yes, that's so far. I'm going more into detail while working on these things on the skeletal mesh, so we don't need this one here. And if you, I say that's later on. So now I will create a very simple skeletal mesh. So if you start a game project, you have to know how it should look. I mean, do you want to go 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, and then even 2-dimensional you want to go very retro style with 8-bit or 16-bit or more like drawn animations. And if you go 3D, do you want to go photorealistic, or more very simple polygon, very simple forms, or do you want something between like comic style or anime style? So if you want to go photorealistic, you can of course do that, but you have to know that going really photorealistic it needs a lot of work, and you may need other softwares that help you with creating the textures and things like that. Or you can pay for textures and so on. That's another option. It can also be a problem later on to in the engine to work in in it, and to make the best option so it runs smoothly on most computers, and not only on the most high-tech computers. So I wouldn't tell you not to use for super photorealistic graphics, but maybe another other graphic method would be maybe better. I also think absolutely with indie games, if you look at indie games, the most popular ones are the ones that have a very unique style, and people will remember that. I mean, a very easy example is Minecraft. It's there are extremely easy forms and work more with the textures, but also the textures are very simple when you look at them. But if you look at everyone knows when he sees a picture of Minecraft. Yeah, that's Minecraft. So taking a unique, I will tell you, if you don't want to spend money for really good textures and so on, and you you really want to use very simple forms, then kind of think about a very unique style you never have seen before, and then it's a lot more. The people will be a lot more forgiven if you take simple forms. If you just use simple forms without a unique style or so, it may look lazy. That sort of thing. So what I go now is I take the middle road. So I will kind of go more anime style, comic style in that direction. So for that, if you're on YouTube, you can look in the description. I added there a tutorial. Maybe I can show you then. I added there a tutorial. It's called Creating Anime Character in Blender. It will lead you to a tutorial by someone else. I think his name was Daniel Kreuter. He made a 40-part tutorial about how to create an anime character with clothes, everything. Goes extremely into detail. It also helps you with he also helps you with getting into Blender very good and so on. I think he studied 3D modeling, so he's definitely better qualified than me to explain these things to you. I will go a little bit in a different route than he does, and it is right now a little bit experimental because I never did it before. So what he is doing, you can add here a background image, and then you can put it to an axis, and then you see the background images. For what he uses that so you have a reference to work on, absolutely about the proportion. If you go for a human character, absolutely for the proportions and so on, what can be very helpful. So the problem I had with that is, first, I can't really draw 2D, so I have to find a reference from the internet, what is sometimes very difficult to find the right difference. Yeah, the right reference. So I was just thinking, can I? No, that's annoying. yeah. Okay, let's keep it for like this for now. Come on, sorry about that. Yeah, I probably have to really. Why did you had so much problems with loading? Yeah, probably in the future I have to use only one platform. I have troubles with restream here. Okay, but let's go on. So definitely go if you want to know how to create anime character from the scratch. Definitely go look at his tutorial. I put the link in the YouTube on the YouTube channel. Also because today I'm not going this far, because otherwise we will be probably 24 hours working on it and then probably not finish it then. Like I said, I will do a very simple, easy, I call it test dummy, just to test things, so we can test things in Unreal Engine, and then later on we can always change it to a more complex form, more aesthetic form. And yeah, so I was thinking, how can I create the right proportions without having to use a reference, but just really blend without anything. And I will try to use a technique that is used in 2D drawing, and that's measuring your proportions with the head of your character. I also added another tutorial here, drawing proportions. You can look up the details there in what I'm doing. So for that I go to the second layer first. Yeah, sorry. I go to the second layer first, and I add my plane here. I use Alt G to put it in the center, and now a head is around 25 centimeter high. So maybe some are a little bit bigger and some are smaller, but I use now 25 centimeters. So I go into edit mode. With Shift D, I copy this plane. Then I press G, Z, and I put in 25. So and okay, now it worked. I don't know why it didn't work before. Do I still have the... No, it's off. Okay, 25. So now we have the height between there for a head. So now first I will do a male, the base for a male character. Male character is around 7 heads high. So I have to Shift D again, set. Oh no, now what I did wrong. You don't have to press G like when you do it like this, and you make just set 25. That's 25. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we make 8. So by the way, you have to press on numpad 5 because otherwise you have this here. That's kinda it makes a curve like a lens. It's hard to work like this, so you have to press numpad 5 so you look at it as it is flat, which is a lot easier to work like this. 25. So 25. That's 6. That's 25, 7, and one more. 25. And with that we have the height of our character. And you see here you see actually how high is 1.75 meters, but is maybe a little bit below average. So maybe I will change that later on. But I will work now with that. Sorry about that. I want to see the chat if something is going on there. Now we go out of edit mode, we go back to the first layer, but we want to see the second layer. Now we add the head, and that's for now just a sphere here. Okay, I see. And now when you look at the sphere, you first we again Alt G, we want to center it. If you look at the sphere, we see we don't want the surface like that, so here on the left side, actually we have to go press on tools, and then you have here shading, and then you want the shading on smooth, so you don't see every polygon, and it's a more smooth body if you want. And then we go to edit mode. We for sure make it smaller. So you can, with A, you can select or deselect everything. Then you can press S and to go a little bit smaller. Okay. And then we go G, Z. We move it up here and make it the right size. Around here, around this. Maybe a little bit bigger. G, Z. I will leave a little bit space down here. The reason is head is of course not perfectly round, so if we later on make more detailed forms, I will add a chin here to make what makes the head a little bit slimmer from the front, and so I will use this space here, this little bit space here for the chin, and then you have the head size of 25 centimeters. Maybe take using, yeah, now it's too late. Then I add a cube. God damn it, something is completely... Oh. Yeah, of course you can't... I did something wrong, sorry. We go out of the object mode and add here a cube, Alt G to center it. Then we go into edit mode, then we press Ctrl R and you see a purple line, and we use that to make a line in the middle. Then we press R again, we make a horizontal line in the middle, and we turn everything around and do the same here. So we divided the cube into more polygons. Now what I do is pressing SAT for wireframe mode. With B I can select the square, so I select all the points here and I delete them. Then I can press SAT again, I'm back here. With R, A, I add everything. Then here, this button is for modifiers. I will add a mirror modifier. I will press this one and clipping on. So now when I change something here, the other side changes too. And because a human body is more or less symmetrical, so that helps. That will help a lot. I press everything A. I use subdivide to make more lines. And then I smooth the vertex down. And I think I shouldn't have done that. Let me check something. Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I don't know how Daniel Kreuter did it. I don't remember. You can check out his video on how he did it. I think it's better to subdivide at least one time the bottom and then smooth it down. Smoothing it up, it kind of rounds the corners of a mesh. Now we have to size it down a little bit, pressing S. Oh, I see. Pressing S to SX for mice. Should have done that earlier. Yeah, that's the problem now with live streams. And if you do something you don't do every time. Yeah, that's annoying. Let's start over. I'm sorry about that. At cube. Now you create. Ah, I see. Okay. Let's delete. Add cube here. Alt G. Let's go in edit mode and let's make it smaller from the beginning. G7. Let's position it around here. And we do the same thing like we did before. let's press A, let's subdivide smooth vertex. Okay. Now we go into set mode. Let's see. Let's press B. Let's take this one here, do this part a little bit smaller. With S you can downsize it. I'm just making kind of torso, and with the how wide the shoulders are, we can go. We can use the head again. So now you see we have to smooth that down again. We can use the head again. This time I could do it in here. It's probably good. Or not. No, let's do that in object mode because I will delete this again. With H you can make something on disappear, hide, without deleting it. So man's shoulders are around 2 heads apart from each other. So we can use the head again as measurement. Then Alt H, my hidden objects come back. I'll go in edit mode, I'll press set so I see the head, and it's already pretty good. With C you can take a circle, you can also select like that. Polygons. C again. Something like that. And then I want to make this one here a little bit smaller. And taking the shoulders a little bit down. With G set. Okay. It's a little bit thick here. Let's select everything here. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I put in more details, I will work on that. So now, normally, so if you make a female character or maybe teenager or a child, you may go from here more straight to here and put and then add the neck and so on. But because a male has a little bit more muscles, you don't see his so he has a thicker neck and not so much like women, and we will define later on the muscles with this on. But if we will make a female character, we will go down a little bit with the neck, maybe around here, and the upper torso is also a head bride. Now I have to see if I don't say anything wrong. Yeah. So the upper torso would go around here, and then we have here the stomach area. That actually is already pretty good. Then here Let's put it down a little bit here. So this is the upper torso, the ribs, up to the ribs. It's one head. It's also one head from. It's a little bit down because this is the neck area, and so we go also a little bit down here. And then the height. Yeah, on my drawing the hips are a little bit over the third head. Or should I? Yes, I'm sorry. I said that I'm doing this the first time. I'm thinking about something. Yeah, I think that's better. Yes, let's make this the upper torso. Let's make it like this, yeah. So the stomach and the hip area are another part. We can delete this one here, we don't need that. I will redo that. Yeah, undo. Let's go into edit mode. Yeah, what I'm doing now is I will the joints I will symbolize them with this round. And that's a good thing that I looked at it from the side, then these are a little bit the side is not good yet. Let's go back here. Of course that's a little bit thick for a human. So we go into edit mode as Y and make him slimmer. And this one here is the joint in the shoulder area. You don't have to do that, but it's kind of useful for the measurements I'm using. So around there. Then we go back to object mode. I will add another cube. Oh gee, did I? No, yeah. Yeah, I will do that later. The mirroring I will do later. It's okay right now. You can do the mirroring whenever you want, but it seems easier to work right now without the mirror. Of course I want to... Did I? No. No, okay. Let's press S to change the size, G-Z to take it up. Let's... Okay, yeah, can be smaller. That was too small. Yeah, around... Oh no, now I'm completely wrong, sorry. Jeez. S. Yeah, we can go down, we can make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so this is the crouch area down here. I do the same thing like I did last time. I subdivide it like this, and then did I say Control R? You can do that. In Daniel Kreuter's tutorial, he shows the controls, so it's a little bit easier to follow there. Subdivide, smooth it down a little bit, then press set. So here we go very slim. Like I said, it is the crotch area, and then the legs come here. You have to go here a little bit slimmer too, so it matches the upper body. And because it's a man, we don't need such massive hypes. Yes, something like that. Yeah, that's more or less too much. I have to bring this in a little bit down. Yeah, a little bit thicker is okay. Around here, if you had a female character, you would of course make her a little bit curvier than a man. Here and here, of course. Yeah, I mean I have to check as soon as I put in more details into that. Maybe I have to change a little bit the forms, but that's more or less okay. So yeah, Blender is working in 3D modeling is not part I'm too good in it, but I managed to get things done. That's okay. So it's okay, and that's why I give you these options to look at all the tutorials that help me. And that's of course the joy of the, how do you call it? I don't know. Upper leg. Okay. So we have made the torso up, the upper body. Let's do the legs next. So the knees are around here. Let's make here another sphere. Oh, yeah, with Shift D you can copy it. We bring it down. No, around here. Let's make this joint a little bit smaller. Yeah, the upper part of the leg is a little bit shorter than the one, but if you take the knee with it, then yeah, it's around the same with the joints. So let's add this time cylinder. Alt V, we center it, edit, push it down, make it a little bit with the upper leg can be a little bit thicker. Okay, then make the rest of the leg. Let's copy this. These are the joints for the leg to the foot, however you call it. Well, thank you, Red Rider. I'm trying my best here. I hope I don't bore you too much. So how is the streaming? Is the stream fine, or does it pause all the time? I have a little bit trouble with the connection. It would be nice to know. So I add another cylinder. Alt G. I edit. I change the size a little bit. Yeah, I think the legs could be a lot thicker, probably, but yeah, no, it's okay. These are details we can still do later on. Let's position it right. And then the last thing we have to do is the foot. What's the best foot? Yeah, the foot. I think it can be a cube. It doesn't really matter. With the foot we have any way to probably do it separately. Alt G. Let's go into solid form. No. Slim. Make it smaller. Yeah, something like that. With G you can move it around. Let's make it at least look a little bit like a foot here. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. It's okay for now. Let's put it at least into the center here. So So the last thing we have to do are arms and hands. So now there is one little problem I have here, and that is, yeah, I will first the proportions of the arm. The upper arm from the shoulders to the elbow, with the elbow, is around 1 head, and then from there up to the joints you have for the hands to the arm, it's another head, and then the hands, it's they're not a full head size. Okay, no need to worry about interest. I'm definitely learning something. The stream does seem to stutter a bit, but I can work with it. Okay, thank you, Red Rider. But there is an extreme delay, you will see. Yeah, I have an extreme delay, but it's okay. Anyway, thank you for telling me. Okay, so now the problem, or I can tell you differently, the whole arms will go until here, not without the hands. The problem is now, for rigging your character here, it's better not to be so close to your body, because after, when you create the armature and everything with it, then you have a big problem. You can have troubles if it's close. That's why the characters are in the famous T pose often. However, if you make the T pose for yourself, you will see this is a very unnatural pose. So the shoulders, they go up and the muscles deform. So often we don't use the T pose because of that when we create a 3D model, but we go slightly down in a maybe 20-30 degree go down. So I have to work around that now, and for that probably the best thing would be, so what I can do now first is move these things down here. That's smooth. Okay. And I will add another plane, Alt G to center it. Let's go into edit mode, and now I can show you something else, because I added it. Oh, everything is on there. Okay. I will select all these things here. Not you. Oh, not you. God damn it. Okay. Selecting you. You and you. And with the layers come up here, and I wanted to have this thing, the body itself on layer 1. So now I can select only the body without all these layers I made here, or I can with shift select both so I see both things. Yeah, Now I will take this one here. I'm going up here. With R I can rotate the layers. And I will, maybe it's better to go, no, wireframe, yeah. Let's go here. This is okay, maybe I should a little bit flatter. Yeah. Okay. With Shift D I can duplicate it and oh no, I have to do it differently, sorry. I was just thinking about something. I'm back in a second. Oh. Where is it? Okay, I'm back. Okay. And sorry about that. I had to set up something. Okay, where are we? So like I said, shoulders to elbow are one head in size. So what I do this time, it's not double G because that's not working, but with E. And now Blender is so nice and keeps the amount of degrees I used here. So I can again just press 25, that's in the wrong direction, so I do minus 25. And that's our upper arm. Now I can select this here. Oh no, I can't do that. And delete, and I delete only the edges, so now I have two planes for the arms. And I will go out of here, duplicate that, go into edit mode, and I just realized something. I go out of here, I go back here into this, I duplicate this layer and rotate it 90 degrees. Yeah, much better. So now I have a line I can follow. That will help. Okay. And we add a cylinder. Oh, yeah, okay. Size it down again. And of course this will be our upper arm. Yeah, shouldn't have rotated it so fast. Oh, come on, wrong button. Oh man, yeah. No. Yeah, I think the upper arm could be a little bit thicker than that, but it's okay for now. Let's take this joint. Yeah, I have to go back here first, and then do the same here again. Minus 25. Why is it now plus 25? Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean it works. It's okay. No, wait, it doesn't work. Let's delete this. Oh, that's not good. I deleted too much. Come on. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's select this here and E25 minus 25. Now it's okay. Yeah, you have to be careful. You only want to delete the edges here. Okay, and the rest of the arm goes until here. So I'm adding joints again. Shift D, copying it, then G, moving it down here. And then we can actually copy this one here. I've done that from the beginning, yeah. I think this chunk could be a little bit smaller, but it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. And the last thing we add is the hands. I think just make another ball here. Like I said, the hands are quite complicated. You have to do this anyway separately and then add it to the mesh. So for now, we just have a ball. Okay. So now I can go. Oh, god damn it. That's kind of annoying. Would you not select this one here? Okay. So we only did one side, so now I will go into edit mode. Oh. Yeah, I need to wireframe. That didn't work. Yeah, I can select everything from here and then delete, what was it, faces or edges. Yeah, that was too much. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Or I can make it like this. Yeah. Okay, let's try it again. And delete edges. Almost. Faces. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, I'm adding here a mirror because later on when we work on the head, we only have to work on one side and we can copy the other side. So if we do more details like eyes, mouth and so on, like I said, we don't have to, we only have to work on one side and copy the other one. Clipping on, clipping is important. Without clipping, this happens. With clipping, it's together. Yep. Then here the same thing. It's a little bit easier here. Add modifier, mirror, and of course you can also choose the axis if you want to mirror around something else. Then here too. To go into edit mode. Yeah, just for kind of, he's a little bit slim from the side and pretty thick from the front, but that's okay for now. Yeah, what else to do? Yeah, now of course here we don't have to delete anything. We just can mirror it. Mirror. And mirror. Okay. Now, can I select everything and add a mirror? No, I can't. Okay. Why? Uh-oh. Something isn't. Oh, this one is wrong. Okay. Did I? Yeah, and that's why we always have to go into edit mode and for moving around your meshes. And mirror and clipping on. Almost done. Clipping. Ah. So now we have our character here. And now the time of truth is coming. We compare it with the skeletal mesh. Of course, a little bit too small, but I think it's pretty good. I'm really happy with that. The legs could be a little bit more up, or at least the joints, let's say it like that. Here the shoulders are a little bit further in, but I think this is from a female character, so it may be alright. Yeah, we have to, of course, change a little bit the form. We will do that later on, but I'm quite happy with it. The cheeks are maybe a little bit high here. The arms look pretty well if we put this up here. Here the leg area, I have to think about, maybe the joints should have been higher. But the cheeks are a little bit strange for me. But we will look at that in more detail when I make a little bit a better form. I think that works pretty fine with sizing everything with the head, with head size. Where does this go? It's maybe a little bit too high. I have to, this area here, I kind of have a little bit of problem, to be honest. I think it is going down too much, I have the feeling. And yes, I see my mistake. Oh. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I did a mistake here. The crotch area here should be in the center. And then it works pretty fine. Then everything seems to be correct. Let's change that. So I'm pretty happy with the result. I'm happy that I had the skeletal mesh to look at it and to see that there was something wrong. But it worked surprisingly fine. I need you guys here. Let's make him a little bit slimmer around here. Okay. Now the legs look extremely massive. But I think the problem is just because they are way too slim right now. Just thinking. And I mean, yeah, this area, I think here this area is too wide and we should make it thicker around here. And then the whole legs make them in general thicker. Maybe like the skeleton going in a little bit inside. But now it's correct, you see. Now the ass is at the right position. Also the joints are almost perfectly from the height. Yeah, so I'm extremely happy with that result, to be honest. If we go up here, yeah. I mean the hands are of course a little bit longer, but that doesn't matter right now. Should I do... Oh, I'm already almost an hour and we are only halfway through. Okay. Now, so I'm pretty happy because like this you don't need a reference or anything like that to make proportions for a human. Measuring it with the head, it works. That's great. So now, should I do that now a little bit? No, it's okay. You can do that later. You guys have to be... what happened? Smooth. What's wrong? Smooth. Okay. Let's look at the skeletal mesh. So if you want to add a fresh skeletal mesh, you can go add armature and then a single bone, and then you get the bone and you can here edit it, making it smaller or things like that. If you want to know how I made the skeletal mesh here, again on the YouTube channel, I mean, should I put in the links on Twitch in the chat? I mean, here in the YouTube I have it, it is under the first one, creating armature in Blender. It's a pretty good one. When you go back to object mode, you can add actually a complete armature human metallic. Okay, don't see it right now. I worked with it at the beginning and then it just didn't do it for me. You can look up tutorials about the human metallic. Maybe they changed it now, maybe it's better now, but when I worked with it I wasn't really happy. So I found the tutorial you see there and I think that's a pretty good tutorial. It's So what kind of trick is with this skeletal mesh is it's a lot easier to make animations with it than with the other one. You see here you can go to pause mode, and here you can I have a little bit lag here, too many softwares running right now. Oh, come on, are you doing that to me now? And here you can set the pause for your character. And the cool thing is, like, if you have some bones that move your whole leg, like you see here, and then you can position the knee like that, and the same is with the arm, and that's very useful for making animations. Should I can go a little bit into what there is. So there are actually two different kinds of bones here. They all look the same, but they are different. What? Come on. And I find the right. Is it? No. Oh, I have to go to edit mode. So in edit mode, you can here press on the x-axis, so you only so like x-axis mirror. So like I did with the mesh, you can actually add bones on the left side, or move. No, you have to add them on both sides. No, you can add them on the left side, and if you name them, you can press. You just have to add an L, and then it gives it automatic an R blender. That's pretty useful. So it kind of realizes the mirroring. So now there are two kinds of bones. And I find the right. Yes. Bones that deform the mesh, and this kind of control bones I used before. They're not connected with the mesh, but because they're connected with the, they move the bones that are connected with the mesh. I hope that's kind of clear what I mean with that. So if this bone wasn't connected with the other bones, nothing would move. The character wouldn't move, but because it's connected with that, the character moves. I mean, everything is pretty good explained in the tutorial I put in there. And you see these lines here, everything is connected with this bone. If you move this bone around, then everything should go with it. And then you see the yellow bones. I don't know, should I add, like I said, tutorials, the links are in the YouTube description. Should I add them into the Twitch chat? Tell me if you need them. No, here. No, here. Where is it? Here, of course. You can add this bone constraints, and I did that with these yellow bones. There is a chain of 2, that means 2 bones that are connected with each other, and that's why if I move this part here, the rest moves with it. I mean the whole leg moves with the joints. And that's pretty cool, and you can do it one-to-one with the tutorial I offer you. I really don't want to go through the whole thing right now. Because we also want to work in Unreal Engine later on. And here you see it's the same thing for the arm. Here I can move where I want the hand, and if I can select it. No, that's the wrong one. It's extremely laggy. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can tell where the elbow has to go, and then you can select Alt R, Alt G, and it goes into the old form. So what we now have to do is kinda overlay it here. Then you can here on the side X-ray, put this on, and then you can see the bones through other bodies. And what we do now is going to edit mode, press on X-axis mirror, so when I move something here it will also change there. And what we have to do now is just to match it better. Like this one, let's take here. I wonder if I should. I think I have to correct here for that the mesh later on. That's better. I mean, from when you look at the side, because I centered the shoulders and they're a little bit in the back. And then we have to. The hands are quite complicated, and making animations with the hands is extremely annoying, at least for me, for someone who isn't really used to do animations. But it's okay. Let's move it up here, let's rotate it a little bit. So that's fine, I mean, it's just a ball. So it doesn't have to be the right size right now. Okay. And then with the legs too, I leave these joints here, but I will move this one out a little bit. And then here, select everything. Okay. Just like a little bit for yeah, if you have a fat task like me, then yes. Should I put this one a little bit? Yeah. Oh, I'm still in edit mode. Here, I have to go to edit mode. Come on. Yeah, I think the shoulders anyway have to be, I mean the joints have to be bigger, but that's okay for now. What's going on here? Yeah, that's okay. And with Alt and the right mouse, you can. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. Yes, now it's extremely slim here, but we can change that later on. I think for now it's fine. Should I? Yeah, maybe. I can now select everything. I think it's better to. Oh, I'm not so sure, but that's kind of annoying. I think it should work like this. So I select everything. I select also my skeletal mesh. It's important that you just the armature. It's important that you first select all the meshes, and after that the skeletal mesh for the next move, and then we press Ctrl P, and then we can here select with automatic weights. That means Blender decides for you to which bone the mesh is rigged, so it just takes the closest bone. I think for this simple guy here we can do it with automatic weights, and we'll have an okay result. For more complicated meshes you have to work to do some extra work, but I can show you that later on. So I will try automatic weights. Takes a moment. And yeah, you see here a deformation. I know what's the problem is here. Select the skeletal, press on pause, we select this bone here, and then I showed you this result here, and when we press on 180 degrees, and then it should be correct. Yeah. And now we can go to pause, and if everything worked fine, we can now move also our body with the skeleton or with the armature, and so we can make animations. However, animations I will show you another day. Yeah. And because it's such a simple form, we don't have to, because we can now go to, if Blender lets me, as example to the torso, can go here to weight paint, here tools, and then here you see all the bones, and you can look which bones, so the chest area, the neck area, shoulders of course, and yeah, that's probably not good when we have the real one, then we need the shoulders a little bit. further in, and then we can here I show you, add more. So the shoulders would affect everything that is in the reddish. Yes, spine, chest, and everything that is blue is not affected by the neck, as example. So everything that is blue is not affected, but everything that is red or a little bit greenish is affected. And that doesn't make sense, but we could now add this here or so. And like I said, later on when we have a more complicated form, we definitely have to do this from hand a little bit, modify it, and that's can be a really pain in the ass. But if you want to have decent looking animations, you have to do it. Okay, that's all I want to show you for now with the armature. One thing up here. Why do I have two armature? What's that? Yeah, anyway, I leave it for now because I'm not sure what it is. That's the right armature. Give it a name. This is my test dummy. Give it a name because Unreal Engine will use the name for the armature for your animations and so on, and that's one problem. So you cannot identify the right armature. But also when you work in Blender and you have like two characters that have an animation with each other, so you put them in the same file because it would be very difficult to make something like a handshake or something like that to match each other when you just separately rig them, move them around, make the animation. So you put them in the same file, and then if you have two armature with the same name, Blender will automatically change one name, give it a 001, a 002 or whatever. And then when you upload the animations to Unreal Engine 4, it doesn't detect the right armature, and then you have and then you will get an error and you don't know why it's not working. So just give every armature a name. It helps you a lot to save some headache troubles later on. So what I do now is I keep this one here. On this one I will work later on. However, I will save a new one. So this is male base, and this will be test dummy. I wanna upload to. So now you see test dummy. And now, unfortunately, I have to. And this one I wanna now import to Unreal Engine. Unfortunately, I now have to take out all the mirror modifier because Unreal Engine doesn't recognize the mirror modifiers. So you only will have the half of the body if you upload it or import it like this. So I just press everywhere apply, and that's why I made a second copy, so I still can work on the other one with the mirrors on, and I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Yeah. apply, and the last one. Yep, that should be alright, I hope. So we select now everything, plus the skeletal mesh, and what we do now is go File, Export, and you see here a lot of different files you can put it in. Some of them I had to add through plugins, but what we will use is FBX. It's one of the most common files. Unreal Engine can read it, and that's fine with us. And if you rather have another one, maybe you have to do a couple of things different. Before I do that, again, I changed my scene setting, the units to centimeter, and that's very important if you want to import it to Unreal Engine. And I did that at the beginning, just otherwise the size would be already wrong. I didn't select the... No. Blender is fucking with me today, I don't know. Okay. Export FBX, and now one moment. Yeah. Desktop here, content, testing, and now here I made some stamps that help me to upload it. I made two ones, one for animation and one for skeletal mesh or static mesh, because it takes always a long time to, if you have a lot of animations, it takes a long time to upload all the animations. And if you just want to change something small on the mesh and just want to upload the mesh, you don't want to upload every animation every time. That's why I separated it. Otherwise you would always import all the animations. And I can show you the settings. You find also on YouTube many tutorials how you can do that, and they should be all around the same. So now first for mesh, if you go to main, so you only want armature mesh, others you don't want lamp, camera, and I don't know what empty exactly is, but they are selected at the beginning, so you only want that. Scale 1 is okay, and everything else should be okay. This. On the geometry, everything is off. Smoothing normals only. I'm not sure if that has changed. Now we don't want, not only want the deformed bones, we want all the bones, so that is selected. Leaf bones, I honestly don't know what leaf bones are, but it's clicked on. So, and then animations off. When we go to animations, main, only armature, we don't want any mesh, uploading any mesh here. Geometry, same like before, everything is off. Here, same like before, we want all bones, not only the deformed bones. And animations, everything is on. But now we want to upload a mesh, and like you find a lot of tutorials just on YouTube. Just write something like Blender to Unreal Engine 4, and then and that's already enough. Blender to Unreal Engine 4, and then you find enough enough tutorials how to do it. So now we export it shouldn't take too long. And now we can select our Unreal Engine. I don't know if you see it. I can't really move it, but there is a window coming up. If you want to, there is a new file detected. If you want to import it, don't import it from here. If it automatically import it like that, you don't get the right settings often. I'm only doing that with kind of like uploading images or anything like that, so don't import. What we do now, is here on the testing. Here, that's the place we want to drop it. We selected this file, and we press here import. Then we select the test dummy FBX. And now we get this here. So now you can immediately see I'm missing something. One moment. Ah, yes. That's what I wanted. Yeah. So now we do you see it? Now we can immediately see if we did it correct. Skeletal mesh should be on. That means Unreal Engine detected a mesh and the armature both. If you just selected only one, like only the mesh, then this would be off, and you would only import the static mesh. That would be wrong. And if you only selected the armature, it would tell you to want to import animations only. That would be wrong. Then here, of course, you don't have anything. Here, if you import something that has already a skeletal mesh, you can add it here. Otherwise, it will create a second file with a skeletal mesh. So if you kind of make as example a hat for our test dummy here, and the hat has the same skeletal mesh. Yeah, we'll come to that later on. You can here select then later on the test dummy skeleton, and that's kind of important. I will for sure tell you about that later on when I have a better example. Otherwise, you make a separate skeleton file in Unreal Engine, and that's a problem because you want the same. You still can change it, but then you have to delete it and so on. So that's kind of annoying. Then here, the only thing we have to click on are morph targets. We don't have now morph targets. In Blender they are called shape keys. The thing with morph targets is, or shape keys, they are as example used for facial expressions. So these morph targets means you have the same mesh, but you can have like deformation, like putting a smile to your character, or something like, or open the mouth or something like that. And Unreal Engine will save the changes you make here. So we click this on so we don't forget it. It happened to me a lot that I didn't click this one on, and then I uploaded a mesh with morph targets, and it didn't show me the morph targets, and I just didn't know what was wrong. So I'm just telling you to press OK here. Then for this time we will create a physics asset because we don't have one. Later on you may, for the same characters, absolutely humans, you can reuse the same physical assets. Maybe you want to change from, if you have a male and a female, you may want different physical asset. So physical asset is kind of a ragdoll. Because I'm doing here a JRPG, I'm doing the most part with animations, and I don't really need ragdoll physics. Also, the physics are at the moment not important. If you make a game that is based on the physics, then that's maybe the first thing you want to do. But I will do that a lot later. And you can select import animations for later on. I mean, you don't have to worry because we selected the animations off in Blender. It won't import any animations. And that's all. Then now I know why yeah. I don't think you can see it, but down here is import all, so you press import all and then Unreal Engine does its job. Sorry for a moment. Yeah, I have a lot of... I don't like that very much here. A lot of breaks here. Anyway, at least Twitch seems a little bit smoother than YouTube. YouTube has a lot more problems, I have the feeling. Anyway, as soon as Unreal Engine is finished, we get here a big list of warnings. That's just what happens. We can ignore warnings. That's not really a problem. If there was an error, then something went wrong. But we can ignore the warnings. That just happens with Blender. Because Blender is a free software, Unreal Engine has sometimes some, but they improved it a lot in the last years. But maybe if you rather pay money and use Maya, you may get less problems. But like I said, these are things you can ignore. They're not really problems. They're just warnings. And then you see here we have our test dummy. It made a physics, and here it made a skeleton mesh. Skeleton. Can now go into our test dummy, and I just realized I forgot to do something. But that's I can use that for something else. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Now I forgot to add a material. I will do that later. I don't know why I did. And I can show. I'm sorry. I just realized. Oh no, come on. That's now not real, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Now you can see it soon. Okay. Our morph targets will be here on the right side. Here are the material slots, and they're empty. So, and you also see here a little bit a problem. Let's see how it looks from the side. Yeah, that's good that this happened, so I can explain you something. And that's the problem with Unreal Engine is it if you have an object with a two-dimensional object like a plane or something like that, it can only see from one side, and the other side it doesn't show up. I don't know how better I can. So you always have to make three-dimensional objects, and I have absolutely with assets you you get from someone else, absolutely clothing and things like that, they always do it one-dimensional, and then you have always this in Unreal Engine this if you look from the wrong side, you always it is always transparent and you just see through everything, and so you always have to make it three-dimensional, and that's actually pretty easy to do. If you select, you can here add modifier, and then you can add where is it, solidify. Oh, here it is, solidify, and if you then you can here say how thick it is, and then you just get a small layer of thickness, and then Unreal Engine can see it from all sides. And the problem is if you go in here, I hope you see it. You see it, this surface is pretty dark here, and if I press Ctrl N, it changes to light. What does that mean? It means that Blender automatically did something wrong. It selected the Blender tells you what is the inside and what is the outside of an object, and the darker colored, if it has darker colors, can I say it? Then it means it's the inside, and brighter colors is the outside. And now Unreal Engine sees the outside, but it doesn't see the inside. So I had to change that around. I can change that easily around if I go in here in edit mode, press Ctrl N, and then it changes it's the inside and the outside out. Absolutely, if you do your forms on your own, Blender will always kinda can I say it? Will often be wrong and just add something does a layer reversed instead of it's outside, it's inside, and so on. So you have to be careful with that. I'm not sure about the legs. I think the legs have other problems. Control N. No, I think I forgot to smooth the. Oh, it is smooth. Okay, we leave it with that. So now here you can select the material, and then you also can select textures. Textures we won't look at it today. Textures is something extremely let's say it's an art form in itself. It can be extremely complicated and so on. If I make a material, I work mostly in Unreal Engine 4 because in Unreal Engine I'm more used to Unreal Engine than Blender, and you also see directly the result in the engine, and sometimes when you do it in Blender and you put it into Unreal Engine it looks kind of different. But you still have to add a material here. Should I change the color? No. So you just press plus and then you select a new material, and then if you want it very simple like now, you just can kind of change the colors. But it's kind of important. I'm not too sure why, but never go to 1, go to 0.8, or on the lower end. No, on the lower end you can't go to 0, but on the upper end to 0.8. I'm not don't really remember why you have to do that. Sorry about that. So now we can select our material here, add it to everything. There is a reason why I do that. I will explain to you later. Or I can explain it to you right now. So I'm talking, and the reason why is because for the game I'm creating, I have different characters you can play. However, because the different characters, because they don't have anything different in the movements or so on, I will explain that later on, you can add them to the same actor and just change the skin, so it looks different, and the animations, but you can do that in Unreal Engine in the same thing, and that's what I want to show you. I will make more or less 2 of these test dummies, one with a blue color and the other one will have a red color, and then I can show you how to change it. Okay, we are done here. Let's save. Select all, go back to the skeletal mesh. Why is it doing that? Export FBX. That should be on, yeah. And that's the right file. So now, again, the window comes up. We don't want to import it. And now what you can do is, instead going over the over import, you can just re-import the mesh, so it will detect the FBX file and add the changes. I'm not sure if it does it with the material, to be honest. That could be a problem. Yes, and finally, yeah, now that's what I was worried about. Okay, yeah, the material it didn't manage to add it like this. we keep the physics and the skeleton. I import it again, and now I can show you. So now, because we are in the same order, in the same file, it detected the right skeletal mesh. Then was it here? No, where was it? Here. We don't want to create a new physical set. We take the old one. Otherwise, we have to import materials, import textures are on. So I have to do that again. Yeah, YouTube is a problem. I have to rewatch the stream and see if it's watchable. Otherwise, I have to find another solution. Okay, again the same warnings, we can ignore them. And now we got our material here. So we can open up our test dummy again. And it takes a moment for the material to load. If you have less softwares up and